Can you imagine what the world would look like if an entire generation of kids learned to be soul guided? Well, Veronica Moya has that vision, and she demystifies the pathway there, which is meditation, making it accessible and appealing to children and their families. She helps children fall in love with who they are and foster a strong sense of self and inner confidence. Join us to find out more.
Soul Nectar Show, the Soul Nectar Show. You're invited, delighted to discover who you are. Anything is possible if you believe. So join us on this beautiful journey. Soul Nectar Show, Soul Nectar Show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Soul Nectar Show, that show where we gather together and we share our stories of connection to that which is greater than us, the big mystery, beyond the veil, to those synchronistic moments that lead us inexorably to a different understanding of ourselves and what we're doing here on this planet Earth. I'm your host, Carrie Hummingbird, and I love having these conversations week after week to really get to the heart of what it means to be human and to share stories and to gather around the campfire together and to explore all of the aspects of what it means to be human and what it means to live alive in touch with yourself. And, you know, I was at my heart lately is just the rise of the feminine, the rise of divine feminine wisdom, divine mother wisdom in the world. I mean, it's just everywhere. And the astrology is calling it forth from us. I really do believe. Lots of appearances from Black Moon Lilith, and you can really see how this energetic is calling us up to stop being so pretty, pleasing, and polite and to start speaking some truth. And now we're at the turning of the ages, and so with Uranus just going into Gemini, we have like this opportunity to rewrite the narrative, and we don't have to be stuck on the old his story that we've been handed, but we can actually contribute all of our voices to the ongoing narrative. And we get to decide what that is. Everybody gets a voice now. And so it might be kind of destabilizing for some people who are used to their voices being the only ones that are heard. And we get to expand our capacity to be present with so many other perspectives than we maybe have experienced up until now through the age of Pisces, which consolidated all perspectives into one narrative and forced it down everyone's throats. And now we're having this opportunity to open up many, many, many narratives and to understand many, many, many different ways of viewing things. And even 8 billion ways, one for each person. So what's the most important thing? Being able to start your life knowing that your perspective is uniquely yours and there's nothing wrong with it and that it's blessed and it's beautiful and it contributes to the whole tapestry of humanity. And so that's why today's conversation involves my friend Veronica Moya. Welcome, Veronica.
Thank you. Thank you, Carrie.
So Veronica was telling me that she started off trying to help adults, and then she realized this isn't working and said, let's go back to the beginning and I'll help the kids. So she actually demystifies meditation, making it accessible and appealing to children and their families. And her teachings focus on helping children fall in love with who they are, fostering a strong sense of self and inner confidence. And through classes and YouTube videos and teaching young people to trust their inner voice and utilize their intuition, she's providing lots of tools to navigate their emotions and thrive in today's world, and also teaching parents how to support a child that's having emotions rather than the age-old children should be seen and not heard. No, it's like, don't invalidate people's emotions. Let them be who they are in the moment. Teach them how to process all that so that they learn by experience. And so I'm really excited to have this conversation with you, Veronica, because I really do know that this work that you're doing is so needed in the world. And so thank you so much for coming on the show and having a conversation with us about it.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited. So you were telling me when we first chatted about how, you were working with adults and trying to help adults face their shadows and heal and rewire, which is all the stuff I do, by the way, everybody.
Right. And you
work with adults.
Yes. No, I realized, we all have a calling. I've always worked with kids. So since I was 17 years old, I created my first kids entertainment company. And then I'm a theater person and a singer, and I work in musical theaters for kids. I taught kids English as a second language. I've always been, I was a nanny, a babysitter. So kids, I absolutely love. I identify with the population. It comes easy to me. So that's a fact, right? And so my work with kids was always just kind of fun. My classes were always fun. The kids always laughing. And then I discovered the Educator Center and I became a reader, for lack of better word, and a teacher. I used to teach adults how to tap into their intuition. And then, of course, I was in New York City and I did a lot of readings for people, lots of readings. I used to work at this place called Namaste. So I was there every week and I saw, I don't know how many, maybe hundreds of adults who'd come for a channel reading or psychic reading. And I didn't enjoy this work. And I have wonderful friends like you and a lot of other colleagues that they do this work and they love it and they make really good money doing it and they do a really good job. I am very good, tapping into what's happening and bringing forth information that is useful, but it wasn't enjoyable. And mostly it wasn't enjoyable because I would get people coming back and back and back. And I'll be like, why are you here again? What am I going to say that is new? So I was so innocent. I was so dumb that I thought, okay, here's the person. I give you guidance. I tell you what you need to, because I 100% believe we're all psychic. Everybody is able to know and see what's coming up, what's happening, what's right. We all do. It's just whether you're trained to do it or not, if you're paying attention or not. So I try to give them the tools, give them guidance. I understand we all need some guidance. I give them guidance. And then, okay, there you go, on your way. But they wouldn't go on their way. They come back next week. They have usually the same questions. And Carrie, I swear to you, I wanted to scream. I couldn't believe. And honestly, it just hurt my soul and it hurt my heart so bad. So I'm like, forget it. I'm like, this is pointless. Like these people, they don't want to improve. They don't want to change. They don't want to be the creators of their life. Like, why are you giving me the power to tell you what's going to happen? This is not good for me. I don't like it. Anyway, so then I get invited to the Omega Institute to teach teens camp. So that was my first thing. I taught kids 13 to 18, 13 to 17. And that was my aha moment. They were so like sponges. They were so perceptive, so ready, so hungry for it. And they were saying, I'm blown away. I taught them intuitive tarot, like channel tarot readings. So, luckily I was teaching at Omega Institute and they had like 25 or 26 tarot card decks. And so we had a class. The class was very popular. I had 2 classes a day with 2 different groups, 24 kids in each class, and they loved it. And they loved it because they felt empowered. They discover what they knew, which they didn't know that they know. They never practiced before. They didn't know they were able to sense things and do readings for one another. So that was the first. And then from there, a bunch of other things happened very, serendipitously, very life just took me into this path. And today I am focusing on children starting at 5 years old and up. And like you just said, what I teach is, very simple. We start with just simple meditation, going within mindfulness and meditation. And what I've noticed is that for younger kids, like 5-year-olds, it is so easy. It's all about introducing the activity and the soul knows. And at 5 years old, they are so wise. They're still fully spirit. They haven't fully become the cynic and skeptical human beings that we tend to be when we grow older. So it's really easy to have this conversation, to have this experience. And so, my goal is to invite people to introduce this activity to young kids and help them maintain that connection to spirit so that when they turn into teenagers and young adults and older adults, They are not so dependent on the outside of themselves to make good decisions.
Yeah, I love that. And also it gives them the realization that answers are at their fingertips, right? They're not alone. And I think that's one of the major things that kids go through, have always gone through, right? Through socialization, is like that feeling of being all alone. If you were the one that was a bit different than the others, maybe more awake, maybe more present, you would end up feeling alone in that regard, right? Because if you're dealing with kids that are not aware of that or into conformity or groupthink. So this gives them a way to tap into something that's always there for them, which is their soul, and to help them navigate through it and help them understand why things are happening. I think that's so beautiful. And I think so many people could be benefiting from that, because otherwise, what's the alternative? So many people get really discouraged, and then we have like, I know my kids went through my eldest son went through some of this, like the behaviors of trying to feel something or trying to feel alive, like cutting or other things that the kids do, right? They start to get very discouraged, and then they don't want to be here anymore. And they get, all of these things are really real. And they were real when I was a teenager. So and I'm going to be 57. So this was real for me as a teenager too. I mean, I remember working the hotline for the suicide hotline, and then like being on the calls, right, to support kids and people that were calling in needing help. Because I was also one of those people going through those thoughts. So one of the ways that I got to heal myself was by being in service, to be answering the phone calls, right? And to learn, like, how is it that you stay when you want to leave? And I think these are really important things right now, with people being so disconnected and living like neck up. And I don't think technology has done anything to take that out. Like, it's actually cemented it. We're living our lives from the neck up, right? So talk a little bit about that and how this opening this up maybe hopefully prevents that from happening to our kids with their proliferation of technology.
Yes, Carrie, that's the idea, right? And the whole suicide thing, I know it's everybody's like, I don't think it's of course. Why would you want to be here? Excuse me? Of course. Why? Because everybody has denied our truth. Everybody has trained us to forget about the soul. And the only time you mention the soul is through some religious conversation, which is complete. It's something else. It's nothing. The soul,
it's a big old narrative that somebody wrote a long time ago, and everybody just keeps repeating it.
And it's detached and it's outside, and it's like, give me a break. My work is about going within, and like exactly what you said, the hope is to fall in love with who you are, to discover that light, that inner guidance, to discover that you're not alone. You're not a weirdo. You're not weird, even though we all feel that way. I know I did. And I was a popular girl. I was the, normal, quote unquote, person growing up. And still, I felt all those feelings. I wanted to die when I was 6 years old. I was really angry to be here. And I had a very, very nice childhood. I had no issues. My parents were great. I mean, truly, I have no real problem or trauma or abuse or anything like that. I just didn't want to be here for the simple fact that I remember what the other side was like. And being here felt very oppressive and very controlling and very limited. And of course, why would I want to be here? Why would anybody? So if we are going to stay and play this game of life, it's imperative that, like you said, we stop living from the head up and connecting with our body and connecting with our soul, our essence, our spirit, whatever, however you want to name it. But you know what it is. We all know. All you had to do is close your eyes, take a deep breath, and that part of you will speak to you. It will happen. It's impossible for it not to. And yeah, you have to develop a relationship. So that's the goal. And that's why I'm saying I'm trying to educate parents to start doing this with the kids every day since they're 5 years old. I call it mental hygiene. Also, just to this, I don't want to make this too mystical or too woo-woo. My hope is to reach the masses.
Your hope seems to be to normalize people's understanding that we have a soul.
Thank you.
Like,
that's great.
Normalize that you have a soul.
Yeah, you have a soul and you should acknowledge it, right?
Yeah.
Instead of washing it under the rug, and let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's do yoga. Let's learn this and everything, because everything we do seems to be for show. Everything is for show, because even, I don't know.
We could say so many things, but I want to lead you down another path, because one of the things that has been left out of this whole lived experience in the world today is the experience of the soul and the experience necessary to live a good life as a female, which is interesting because the divine feminine is very well connected with the soul, which I believe is the creator energy, because what else creates life except a womb? So I'm not really sure how that's masculine or ever been masculine. So like it's actually a womb. And so we're switching now into this place where there's much more conversation from the female perspective, from the one with the womb and the experience of being the one that births life, that has a very different way of approaching itself for a happy life and for a connection with the soul, right? It's a very different than the masculine bodied experience. But all we've heard about up until now for the last thousands of years is the masculine interpretation of how it is to live a good life and to be spiritual. So like we were talking about, the whole psychological industry created by men, for men to suppress women. I mean, religion, everything created by men. That doesn't work for us. And you were saying some beautiful things about what it is that we need as women is to do some key things like feeling our emotions and being in the body and stuff like that. So say more about that, because I think that's important.
Yes, definitely. Women have been conditioned to think that it is good to go out to work and to behave like a man. And this is perceived as you're successful, you're doing well, bravo. I mean, even between us, among ourselves, if you see a woman being a woman, immediately, it's almost like subconsciously you see them like as weak. Someone in a powerful place, a lawyer or an accountant or whatever, whoever. You expect us to put our essence, again, it's our essence aside, under the rug, and then behave as if. And because of economy and because of look how smart they've been to make us feel that we have to go out and work. It's a good thing. We want to do this. We want to be out of the house and we want to join the workforce. I know this is controversial, but I feel I'm very maternal. I have that maternal instinct in me, and the way I do things are very feminine. It's just, it woos me. And so the careers that I picked are careers, in art and things like that. So when I see how the society, everything, the way it's gone, where if you want to stay home, if you want to take care of your family and your kids and educate your kids and do other things, more feminine things, it's kind of you're looked down on, like you're not achieving. It's frowned upon, basically, when it shouldn't be. Some people, and that's truly an honorable thing to do, to stay home and take care of your loved ones. I mean, it's beautiful. Luckily for me, my mom was a stay-home mom. I'm so thankful for that. I remember she had to go to work when I was about 17 years old, and I suffered. I remember feeling her absence. She had to go. She had to leave the house. And yes, nowadays, if you feel like a woman, if you express your feelings, you are, even by your peers, which is what kills me. It's the most, I get the men going, rolling their eyes and not understanding. I get that. Okay, you're wired differently. You don't get it. That's fine. But for us women, what we do to each other, that's unfortunate. And what?
It's internalized misogyny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that could stop if we learn to connect from heart and to be more empathic with everyone. And I used to see this in my readings when I sat, someone would come, and I'll be honest with you, and sometimes I'll be judgmental and I'll judge someone by the way they look or the way, they come and they sit in front of me and they have this harsh energy about them and they look very disconnected and very cold and very corporate-like. And so I'll be judging in my head. And I remember it was so beautiful to see, to feel for me. So when I sit, connect, so I have the intention to bring forth information that is helpful to this person. And my intention is to be of service. And I do a little thing inside of, you know, how it goes. Like you do something inside of you to say, you know, you connect with the other person. And I open my eyes and something truly magical would happen every time. And I could truly see this person like a little bird, like a child. I could really see them for who they truly were and all the feelings they were feeling inside that were buried down, 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 down. Now I could see it. I could feel it. But here's my sadness and my frustration is that they couldn't.
Right.
They were so conditioned and so trained they were numb to all these feelings. And
I can validate that. I mean, because I have always considered myself to be a very independently strident woman. Like I'm going to do what I want. I don't really care what anybody else thinks. I mean, of course, I secretly cared a lot, which is why then I took it personally. But I feel like the Western woman experience is based on this really big frustration with the patriarchal model of not being respected because you're doing whatever it is you choose as a woman, right? So like if women felt respected as mothers in the home, then probably more people would do that. If they didn't feel like they would be taken advantage of and it lorded over them, that they have no say because they're not bringing in the money, they probably would be more interested in staying home. If they still had a vote at the election, even if they stayed at home and they had representation for their needs and they were listened to and they were cared about and they were provided for in that way, they probably would really love to do a whole lot of other things than what they're doing. But we had to sort of steel ourselves and cut off parts of ourselves in order to compete against men in a world designed by men, for men. And this is why we're all messed up now. This is why we are so out of whack, is because we did that.
Because it's like asking the hands to do what the feet are doing. You have 2 feet, 2 legs, and 2 arms in a body. I like to compare the society with a human body. Everybody has a place in society. We have different parts of our bodies which are designed to do different things. The feet are not going to do what the hands do, right? You grab things, you write, you use your hands for this, and your feet will take you from the table to the chair to the bed, will walk you. Very useful, both of them. Nobody's better than the other. I mean, they're necessary. And the same is true for all of us. So a man needs to do what they are designed to do. And this is how their brains are designed. This is how they were designed to do certain things, to do certain jobs and to provide. And the woman is truly the boss of the house. The woman, but it is true. Like the men, we are the ones who made them. We make the men. You're the sustainer of your husband if you have a husband, or whoever's in the house. You are truly the support. You're the pillar. It's so important. It's so sacred. Truly, the role of a woman is sacred. But then, like you've just said, if the two of us, if the two halves could truly honor who they are, who they came here to be and what they came here to do, and do it to the best of their ability and honor and appreciate themselves, who they are, what they're here to do, instead of second guessing, being cranky, being upset about what they didn't do, it all gets too murky. I get it. Like some women are truly, again, it's not my case, so it's hard for me to say, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a corporate type of person. I don't have that personality or that mind. I'm not wired that way. But for those who are, great. You know, if that's your passion, if that's the way you were wired to do those things, you go and do that. But for the rest of us who are not, it would be nice to know that you have your place and you have not only support, but like you said, you have the respect and the acknowledgement that you truly deserve, because we are truly a blessing and very necessary. Like you need your nose, you need your eyes, you need your ears. They all do different things.
But it has to be with respect. And that's the piece that's missing from a lot of this weird societal construction that's happened, is like respect for each other. And then as a woman, that translates into feeling disrespected as a woman, disrespected as a mother. And then you see it all over the place. At least I am witnessing it a lot of places because I have a lot of people coming to me saying, oh, my kids aren't left the house and they're not even calling me on Mother's Day. They're not reaching out to me. They are ignoring me. They're ghosting me. They picked a different parent. It's like,
Oh,
wow, and I feel like it's a huge heartbreak for so many women who really in this Western model were forced into, for safety, the ability to provide for themselves because they were going to fall in the trap of not having any resource to provide for themselves and then be abused and have no way out, right? So they weren't going to do that. So they providing for themselves and providing for their kids, probably got divorced because of the abuse. And now the kids are like, I don't want to talk to you because you weren't the kind of mother I wanted. Wow. I hear these stories and my heart I can relate to part of it, right? And I'm also my heart breaks for that situation. And so I feel like it's an opportunity. I see everything as an opportunity to reclaim our power. And I feel like it's a time on the planet where we get to realign to the divine, like realign to what actually makes sense for every single person and every single person in their body, their biology, their physiology, their human design, however you want to figure out your design. But like what you're doing is you're teaching people to never lose track of themselves. So like no matter what's going on in the environment, that they can come in and they have a way of accessing that soul conversation and that connection with something greater that will guide them to something that works for them rather than getting swept up in a system that isn't going to regard them.
Right. But this is why we need to start early, because then it's too late. They go to school, they train their minds to just go, do. And nowadays, even worse, this. I was thinking about this today as, the human race. I mean, if we think about like cave days, the way we interacted with Mother Earth and with our bodies and with our, you work the earth, you walk, you fish, you hunt, you bring home, you're doing a lot with your body. You're just present. There's no way of not being present because you're present. You're working with your body constantly. And then technology and the advancement, we start making things easier and easier and easier. And there's systems in place that will replace everything we used to do. So now we have apparatus who do, making of the food and farming, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's no more walking because we have cars and now we have planes and we have everything becomes easier and easier and less and less and less. And humans do less and less. And today, it's really significantly worse with the computers and now with AI. So now AI is, because at least, even though, so this has been happening obviously for a couple of centuries, that things have been simplified for us with technology and advancement, but at least we still had the imagination and the creation. And now even that is being taken away from us. And for young people, this is so dangerous. It is so scary to me. So they're not playing outside anymore. Everything is stranger danger. I didn't have that. I grew up in the 70s and 80s. I played outside for hours. My mother didn't know where I was, and it was okay. I had a group of friends. My mother didn't know half of my friends, if that's possible to grasp today. And it was fine. I was never raped. I was never abused. I was never stolen. Nothing ever happened to me. Not that, I'm sure some people might have had problems, but in general, it was a healthier, easier, more trusting time. Today, there's a lot of stuff going on that is preventing the kid to be a kid. And like you said before, even the parents today, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to see a kid being a kid, meaning having a temper tantrum, being frustrated, being bored. You go to a restaurant and you see the kids in their iPads all the time. What is that about? Well, that's the parents.
Because that's for the parents. That's so the parents don't have to interact with them. They can just carry on their adult conversation while the kid's right there.
Because it's inconvenient. It's annoying. I get it.
Yeah.
And if you have money, because I work with all kids, and it was really funny I was working at this public school in New York City. It was a bilingual school. They had English and Spanish or English and French. So the French group of kids, they were very wealthy. They had wealthy parents who sent them there because it was a nice school and they learned French. And so it was really interesting. They had 2 nannies, most of them. What does that mean? When you have 2 nannies, that means your parents don't need to work. Your mother, at least, she doesn't actually have a job. She just doesn't want to spend time with you. And they have a nanny from 3 to 7, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, you need another nanny because you need help all the time. So either whether it's with the iPad to give you assistance so you don't have to deal with your kid, or if you are really wealthy, you have help so they can deal with your kids when they are being annoying or whatever, when they're being kids, actually. Yeah, and all these people, they want to procreate. Why are you having kids?
When you're saying this, I'm thinking about when my kids were small, I had a nanny come like 24 hours a week so I could work. So I could work, right? Because I'm in the house doing consulting work because I worked for myself. And if I couldn't do that while they were also there, otherwise they could get into so much trouble when I'm trying to do my thing.
That's normal.
Right. And so I had her come to the house because I didn't really trust anybody to like have my kids. And so I was like, I wanted them close by. And also I wanted to be able to nurse them if they needed to be nursed. But I had to work. So I was like doing that. But here's the interesting thing is I had this idea, and I remember it back then, that kids and work don't go together. Like they're separate. They don't mingle. And then when I went to the jungle, and this is this was like after I left my first marriage and my kids were older, they were in middle school and high school. And I went to the jungle and studied with the shamans. And I'm like, the kids are everywhere. The shamans are teaching the medicine work, right? They're doing ceremony and the whole family is there with all the clients. They're not like telling them they can't be there. They're with us. And I thought that was so interesting, right? Like they were included. It was a community experience.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Were they okay though? Were they behave?
Yeah, because they're used to being included in all this stuff. So they're used to being around this container. And so they didn't act out. They weren't weird. They didn't cause problems because they knew they weren't being excluded.
I get it. They knew what they were doing. It's important because again, that's what I'm saying. The soul knows. So the kid knows what he's doing, what he's there for. Mom or dad or my elder is working. This is important.
You said something, the soul knows. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they didn't lose touch with the earth. Their christening, if you will, was with the earth. And so they're shamans, but their little baby's feet on the ground. This is Mama Earth, does some medicine work for the child so they get connected with their body. The soul gets connected with the body and remembers itself in the body. That they do like a blessing to support that. That's like part of the entire experience of being Indigenous.
Well, there you go. You experienced this firsthand.
I watched it happen because we had some people in our group that had babies and they brought them carried them all the way up the mountain in their little, I mean, I couldn't have done that after having delivered a month before, but they did that, brought it all the way up to the mountain for the initiation and the shaman blessed the little baby. Wow. But that's what they do for their people. All the time.
I wasn't referring to that. I was referring literally, I met these women. They would come at 6 p.m. to pick up their kid and they were like fully, makeup and like completely, you can tell. This lady
they're like, this gets in the way of my life. Like what you're saying. Whereas I'm saying the opposite experience was all these people I've witnessed Indigenous experiences where the children are never separate from their lives. There's
an inconvenience. The kids today, they are, it seems, seemingly, not everyone, of course, I don't, obviously, but I've seen it firsthand and I've seen kids telling me I want to die, a 5-year-old. That's the one with the 2 nannies. And yeah, I don't blame you, buddy. I get it. I'm not horrified by it. I would too. It sucks. Even though he was a popular boy, again, everybody loved him in the classroom. He was great. But yeah, if you go home and your mother doesn't want to have anything to do with you, you're an inconvenience, you feel it, even if they don't say it. Your parents are not going to tell you, you're annoying me. They all say the right things, but yes, you can feel it. So yes, I think we're going in a pretty dangerous direction. And for all those reasons, I think the only answer is going within and connecting with our essence, the truth, like you said,
Yeah.
earth, the soul, the real you, the eternity of the soul, the one you that's forever, that's been with you forever. So get it, connect with it, acknowledge it, love it, have a relationship with it, discover it every day, be thankful for it. And from that place, then you go out into the world, then you interact with other people, then you choose a career or you choose a family or a path, whatever it may be. But from that place, from that inner guidance, inner compass, your path may not be what you thought it would be or what others want it to be. Like in my case, I didn't have kids. It didn't happen for me. And I didn't do a lot of things that I thought I was going to be or do as an adult. What I did do is just put one foot in front of the other and follow where life took me. I try not to force anything and not to stop anything. So when people ask me about kids, I said, well, I didn't. I don't know what to tell you. Honestly, I blink. And then when I met my husband, I was 42. And I'm not going to go through in vitro and this and that and just to get pregnant. It's over. Too bad. It didn't happen for me. I had another husband before. It wasn't good. It wasn't a good situation. And I didn't get pregnant. And it didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be. I'm not going to force it. I didn't force anything. The same thing with jobs. Maybe I wanted to do this thing or that thing, didn't happen, and that's okay. And you keep going. I don't know. Let's see. Let's find out what's in store for me. It's not what I think I want, what I learned, what my head is telling me, but it's what my soul is telling me, where it's guiding me. So our work, our job as humans is to try to have the strongest and the closest of relationships with that, with our essence, our truest self. And then from there, then we execute and then we go through life. And I believe that life becomes a lot easier if you could do that.
Yeah. And it's about a word that you used before we hopped on this call, which was discernment, is that we're moving into that inner connection, that inner knowing with our personal soul, our experience in this incarnation and this body and this design and this lifetime, whatever's meant to be in for this path. And then to be able to discern the truth of things, those are the skills we need, right? For ourselves. Because we're not, this age that we're moving into, the age of Aquarius, is about sovereignty. We are not here to follow dogma or to be told what to do or to conform with whatever the group is doing. We're not here for groupthink. We're here for our own sovereignty and expression, and then learning how to relate with others from that place, right? So that's a whole new curriculum. It's not even the same. And you're not going to be able to do this curriculum without getting in touch with this, with your soul and your heart.
Amen.
Yeah, I love it. I'm excited. I'm ready for it. Let's do it. And I want to take a moment and just send grace to any mother who's been listening to this. And then, because I know what happens inside a mother's heart and mind is that you hear all this wisdom or things that you didn't know before, or you didn't know then when you were raising your kids, or you didn't realize, and then you were just doing your best. And so that's what I want to say. My dad used to always say this: you do the best you can with the tools you have at the time, period. And you just leave it there, because there's endless things you're going to realize on your path through life, like endless realizations we're going to have, where you're going to realize, oh, I could have done that, and that might have changed everything.
No. Oh, Carrie, no.
Not useful.
Perfect. Oh, that's one thing. Thank you for bringing that up. No. This is what I always tell my moms, like with the kids that I work with. Listen, it's awesome. You're a mother and you brought this person into this world, but they are their own soul and they have their path, their choices, their journey. It has nothing to do with you. And you have to know and trust that you are inspired to doing what you needed to do to allow them to have the experience that they wanted to have. So even if you made quote unquote mistakes or things that you think were a mistake, I'm sure they weren't, because it's always a co-creation. And even if your kid is a 3-year-old and like, oh, what is he going to co-create? Yeah, trust me, we are co-creating. They are creating. They may be small or too young for this world, but they're not really. Their soul is wise and it's big, and they came here to have an experience. And it's none of your business what that experience may be. And sometimes it's not a very pleasant one, and it's hurtful for us adults and to see them. You never want your child to suffer, or even adult children. Parents, my parents always tell me it's a never-ending job, right? Anybody, any family member that you love, you want them to do well. And when sometimes we make questionable choices, but as a parent, you're doing great. And that's the hardest thing, to let go and know and trust that you were put on this earth to guide them and to help them have the experiences that they decided they wanted to have before they came to earth.
Yeah. And sometimes you're born to a parent that has a younger soul age than you have. And your job as the older soul has been to teach them. And it maybe made you feel like things were reversed in the wrong way, and you shouldn't be teaching them. They should be teaching you. But again, if you're in touch with your soul, you'll have more insight into that, right? Like you'll realize, oh, that's right. Like they had no clue.
That though, isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Right? Oh my
It's
God.
like we agree to that. We agree through soul contracts to do that. And I'm by no means dismissing some of the horrible stories I've heard from people who had just really abusive parents. My heart goes out, and I know how hard that can be. Had some difficult experiences myself early in life. And so I understand that too. But I think the healthiest part of this conversation is the recognition of the soul and led life, right? Because when we lead the life from the place of soul, like you're talking about, Veronica, it's like, then we have a different perspective than if we live it only from our current human experience and brain, right?
Right. The human experience can be hell. At least I think so. It's too much.
Sometimes it's too much. I feel like my hopes, and this is just my nudges with my soul. I feel like this is just me speaking. So, and my soul speaking, and maybe you have to see if you all agree with it or not. But I feel like part of what we agreed collectively for the age of Aquarius is that we're not going to have quite as rock bottom horrid experiences going forward for this next age as we have had in the age of Pisces. Like the age of Pisces has been bottom floor of hell. Okay. It has been really hard. And I feel like many of us collectively must have agreed, because I really feel like the age of Aquarius is not like that. New Earth is not like that we agreed, you know what, we're going to just dial it back a little, and we're not going to have it be quite like that anymore. We're going to go up an octave and see what's the human experience like at the next octave. There can be so many blessings at that next octave when we start moving into like the gift frequencies and the gene keys, for example, or the acidic frequencies. Like, what's it like to live in ecstasy? I don't know. I sure would like to find out. I don't know about anybody else, but I like to know what ecstasy feels like on a regular basis as a lived experience. And I think if we just shift it a little up, we're going to find out what that feels like. And I feel personally that that's what we all agreed the Age of Enlightenment was really going to be about. So yeah, the Great Awakening to a different reality, right?
And so there's a bunch of us here rooting for that and working towards that. That's great.
Here it comes. We're doing it. Are you guys ready to feel ecstasy?
Yeah.
I am.
Yes. Yes.
So beautiful. So I know that people can find out more of you have a YouTube channel, and you've got a website and a nonprofit that people can support, and you're on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. I'm going to put all the links below. What do you want people to know about supporting your work or helping their own kids or sharing out, what you have to learn from people that they know are parents? I mean, what do you want to share?
The most important thing I want to share is to please reach out to me and share with me and give me feedback and questions. I do have a YouTube channel that is for kids specifically, but I think it's good for anybody. I do very short guided meditations, affirmations, and gratitude exercises. And the idea is that they would be incorporated in classrooms. So that's my hope, So if you like to check out my website or my YouTube channel, and if you know teachers or schools, it is very secular and it's very simple. Please try one of my mindful mornings. Exercises is 5 minutes. We do a stretch and a positive affirmation for the day and a 3-minute meditation. And that's a great way to start the day. So if you can take the time to even watch one video and then send me an email, or I'm very easy to find and I'm truly open and humble. I genuinely want to be of service and be useful, what I'm doing to, be useful. So if you have suggestions, comments, please reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. I really do.
Beautiful. And please do. And please like, share, and subscribe to the channel in this episode. Share it out to anybody that you know is a teacher of young kids or older kids. It doesn't matter. If anybody's a teacher, share it out. Share it out to the PTA person on your block. See if we can get some mindfulness going on. And, the kids will teach the parents, which is the coolest part. If you get the kids in touch with themselves or remain in touch with themselves, they'll teach the parents, and then that'll make things easier. So let's do it, guys. All right. I just love to end my broadcast with kisses. So if you want to join me, I give Reiki kisses. So here they come, you guys. Thank you so much for staying with us to the very, very end, like you always do. Appreciate you. And here come the kisses. And I love you. And I'll see you next week on Soul Nectar Show. Have a great week, everyone. Bye for now. If you found even one gold nugget in this episode of Soul Nectar Show, will you do us a favor? Will you subscribe, like, and share this episode? Maybe even write a comment and let us know what you thought about it. We really, really want to engage with you at a much deeper level. Let's be part of community together. Have a great week, everyone. Bye for now.
Soul Nectar Show. Awaken, Nectar Show. Take a sip from the drip of nectar, from the source of who you are.